All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle a really powerful piece of tech, but we're going to do it with a simple story. Think of a city, a huge flood of data, and one big idea that changed everything. Let's get right into it. Okay, so picture this, a futuristic city called Datapolis. And in this city, everything is connected. Your car, the traffic lights, the apps on your phone, they're all constantly talking to each other, creating this nonstop stream of information. It's basically the city's lifeblood.
But here's the catch. This constant chatter, all this data, it started to cause a huge problem. The very thing that made Datapolis so smart was now threatening to, well, bring it to its knees. The city was literally drowning in its own information.
And we're not talking about a small leak here. Look at where all this data was coming from. You've got cars reporting their location, shopping apps tracking every click, security cameras, banks, you name it. It was this relentless digital flood coming from every single corner of the city.
So at first, the problems were kind of subtle. Things just started to feel slow. The city's digital heartbeat, which used to be super fast, just began to lag.
But then it got a lot worse. The apps that people depended on every day, they started crashing. The digital fabric holding the city together was starting to tear. And this is where it gets really scary. Critical alerts, we're talking security warnings, traffic emergencies, they were just getting lost in all the noise, vanishing. The city was losing its eyes and ears. And then the whole thing hit a breaking point. Right in the middle of morning rush hour, the main city dashboard, the one screen that showed the operators everything, it just froze. The people in charge were completely blind. So you can imagine the mayor was not happy. He goes to the chief engineer, a woman named Mira, and basically says, "We can't survive like this. You have to find a way to handle all these messages." This wasn't just a tech problem anymore, it was a crisis. So Mira and her team, they scrambled. They tried everything in the playbook. Traditional databases? Nope, way too slow. Message queues? They just couldn't scale up to handle the volume. They even tried hooking systems up directly, but that just created this nightmarish, tangled mess. Nothing was working. And this right here is the turning point in the story. Just when it felt like they'd hit a dead end, a visiting architect shows up with this totally different way of looking at the problem. A new idea that would change everything. And this one sentence, this is the key to the whole thing. The architect tells them, "You don't need a bigger bucket, you need a river." See, the team was so focused on trying to build bigger and bigger containers to hold the data. The architect's point was, stop trying to contain it, let it flow. And that really gets to the core of what Kafka is, and maybe more importantly, what it isn't. It's not just another database, it's not a message queue, it's not a bigger bucket. It's a completely different kind of beast, a streaming platform. The best way to think about it, really, is as a man-made river, engineered to handle a constant, never-ending flow of messages. Okay, so how does this river actually organize anything? Well, the first big idea is something called topics. Think of them as different channels branching off the main river. Each topic is dedicated to just one specific kind of message. So all the payment data flows down the payments topic. All the system logs go into the logs topic. No more mess, no more confusion. Everything has its own lane. So what are the secrets of this river? How does it actually work? It's not magic, it's just some really clever engineering. Let's break down the key parts that make it all tick. First up, you have what are called producers. A producer is literally anything that sends data into the river. A car's sensor, a mobile app, whatever. And here's the beautiful part. The producer's job is super simple. It just has to drop its message into the right topic, the right channel. It has no idea who's going to read it later, and it doesn't care. This is huge because it completely decouples the sender from the receiver. And then on the other end, you have the consumers. These are the apps and services that actually need the data, like a dashboard or an alert system. Now, here's the real magic. A consumer can drink from the river at its own pace. If one system is slow and needs time to process things, it doesn't slow anyone else down. The river just holds onto the messages until that consumer is ready for them. No more bottlenecks. Okay, but how does Kafka handle this insane amount of data so fast? The secret is something called partitions. Remember how we said a topic is like a highway? Well, partitions are the lanes on that highway. The more lanes you have, the more traffic you can handle at the same time. This is how Kafka achieves its incredible speed.
And this is why partitions are such a game changer. It's all about scalability. It means more speed, it means more consumers can read at once, and it's why massive companies like Netflix and LinkedIn rely on Kafka. As their data grows, they just add more lanes to the highway. It's that simple. All right, but what happens if something breaks? What about reliability? Well, Kafka has that covered with something called offsets. An offset is basically a tiny bookmark for each consumer. It keeps track of the last message that consumer read. So if an app crashes, no big deal. When it comes back online, it just picks up right where it left off, using its bookmark. No data is ever lost and nothing gets processed twice.
But what if one of the Kafka servers themselves goes down? I mean, what if part of the riverbank collapses? The system is built for this. It's called replication. The data isn't just in one place. It's copied across multiple servers. So if one server fails, another one just takes over instantly. It's fault-tolerant, which means the river of messages literally never stops flowing. So, with this incredible new system in place, this digital river flowing right through the heart of the city, Datapolis was completely transformed. And the change was, wow. It was immediate and it was dramatic. Those frozen dashboards, now updating in milliseconds. Security threats, spotted instantly. That ordering system that kept losing messages, never lost a single one again. And you know what else? Developers could suddenly build new, amazing apps way faster because the data was finally organized and accessible. The city wasn't just working again, it was smarter than ever. So, when the mayor finally asked Mira, "What is this miracle system you built?" she had the perfect answer. She just said, "It's Kafka, the river of messages that never stops." A perfect summary for the tech that saved her city. Now, obviously, Datapolis is a story, but the technology, the principle behind it, is very, very real. And it makes you wonder, right? Where are the data loggems in your world, in your projects, in your company? And what kind of river, if you could build it, could completely transform everything?